Good morning and welcome to the 2025 World Para. Well, I'm going to skip that. We've got our first heat coming out. I want to welcome all of you to Indianapolis, Indiana for our 2025 World Para Swimming World Series. First and foremost, let's welcome all of our officials that are here from all over the globe. Heat 1 is making their way to the start. We've got a couple of athletes getting in from the side. They'll be doing an in-the-water start. So we've always got a little bit of a delay. Welcome again to the 2025 World Para Swimming World Series in Indianapolis, Indiana at the famous and legendary Indiana University Natatorium. Tripping over myself at the beginning there. Informed this morning that I am announcing in the venue and on the live stream. So once I get my Heat 1. This is Heat 1 of the men's 100-meter freestyle multi-class. And I will announce their names once they get started. See in lane 3, Cougar Clifford, Dylan Mizzi in 4, and Dom Gabriel Yangal Cruz in lane number 5. In the water is Heat 1 of 9, the men's 100-meter freestyle multi-class. In lane 3, Cougar Clifford. In lane 4, Dylan Mizzi. In lane 5, Gabriel Leongal Cruz. So we've got 9 heats of this race. In our first heat, you can see there's going to be multiple styles of freestyle. Freestyle is pretty simply labeled free and open to whatever you need to do to get to the other end of the pool and back. So you'll see a more of a standard looking freestyle like you see here with Dylan in lane 4. Our swimmer from the Dominican Republic did not show for this event. There's Dylan turning at the 50 at a 59.11. His entry time is 2:07.6, so he seems to be right in line with that time. This is a larger meet than it's been as far as participants, but you're going to see that as we move closer and closer to the U.S. hosted LA Paralympics in 2028. A lot of the foreign federations that don't normally join us are joining us for so many reasons. One is just to get used to the travel to the U.S., staying in the U.S., and we welcome them with open arms. There's Clifford coming into his 50 turn. Clifford swims in the S2 classification. Dylan, who's got about 6 or 7 meters left there, he swims in the S3 classification. Dylan's time again, entry was 2:07.66. He's 2:03.07, back quite a bit faster. Outstanding swim for Dylan. Cougar has done his turn, and he's got about 40 meters left in this 100-meter freestyle. This is Heat 1 of 9. Again, you are tuned in, and I hope you stay with us. We don't have a lot of races that we're calling. So what we'll do today and throughout the weekend is take a look at and hopefully watch and learn what all these amazing athletes are doing in the pool. This is Cougar Clifford from the U.S. He swims in the S2 classification. He's 26 years old. His entry time is a 3:51:28. You can see on the clock there, he's good to go. You can see his running time. All right, I was just getting briefed on the venue sound, so I left you for a second. This is Cougar Clifford coming in lane number 3, finishing the first heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle mixed classification. Outstanding first heat. You'll hear that whistle. That's their cue that the heat has finished. Got a little bit more of a full heat coming up here in heat number 2. This will be heat 2 of 9. Little recap there from the start of heat 1. Dylan Maisie gets right out to a good lead. There he is coming out of his turn, and a great, nice, long reaching finish. And Dylan goes 2:03:07. So I'll be announcing all of their names once they get swimming. In the finals, we'll announce them individually as they march out of the video tunnel there on the side of the pool. You can see that over on the right side of your screen. This is a list of the heat 2 swimmers. Heat 2. So I need to say the name of the heat, the number of the heat, as soon as that long whistle happens. And if you're used to watching able-bodied swimming, this will be a little bit different. The starts take a little bit longer getting set, and the time between heats feels like a little pause, but we give all of our athletes all of the chance they need to be comfortable and be within their own ability range. In the water is heat 2 of 9 of the men's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. In lane 1, Aldo Perez. In lane 2, Paulo Gonzalez. In lane 3, Inak Seseptek. In lane 4, Hubert Pogorski. In lane 5, Jackson Ingram. In lane 6, Nicholas Montez. And in lane 7, Gabriel Araldo Araujo. Again, you can see we have a lot of varying skill levels, ability levels in heat 2 here. In lane 2, that's Aldo. Got a pretty decent race coming back in the second 50 of our second heat. That's lanes 2 and 4, Paolo and Hubert racing. It looks like it's going to be Hubert there in lane number 5. That's Hubert Podgorski from Poland, finishing in a time of 1:22.26. And again, I apologize. I'm getting into my rhythm here of announcing both in the venue and on the live stream. Hopefully we build a good audience here on the live stream. We've been working on this in the U.S. for 3 or 4 years, starting at the first meet in Dallas, Texas, coming right out of our COVID years. We're glad to have those behind us. Athletes and fans and parents can all be in the venues. Finishing there in lane 1, that's Aldo Perez from Mexico. And our final finisher in lane number 7, that's Gabriel Araujo. Here's some music in the background. That's music that we are allowed to play. It's become pretty normal to have music running during the heats at the swim meets here in the U.S. And I am being jack of all trades, and as I am probably proving master of none, I am your DJ, your venue announcer, and your live stream announcer. That's a great finish there in lane 5. I'm sorry, from Hubert Podgorski. Coming up is lane heat number 3 of 9. This is an incredible venue, historic venue here in the U.S. And that far wall under the U.S. flag is about, looks like 10 columns of names. All of those names are the athletes who qualified for the Olympic teams in this pool throughout the years. Heat 3. I'm also noticing that I change voices a little bit when I go to the venue announcer, a little more radio guy. But there's all those names. We'll get to that. I'm surprising the broadcast crew with the random things that I'm coming up with. We have an unofficial American record that I'll get to as soon as I finish announcing this heat. Heat 3 of 9, men's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. In lane 1, Carlos Hernandez. In lane 2, Jared Silva. In lane 3, Josue Rodrigo. In lane 4, Alex Cooper. In 5, Noah Thomas. In lane 6, Jonathan Gonzalez. In lane 7, Ruben Lopez. In lane 8, Marcos Sencion. To draw your attention to the results in heat number 1, we have an unofficial American record of 2:03.7 in the 100 freestyle S3. Dylan Mazie, congratulations. Dylan Mazie not only dropped 4 seconds in that race, he broke an American record for his classification. So outstanding start to the quad, as we call it, the 4-year period leading into the LA Games. In lane 2 right now, that's Jared Silva from Mexico. He is finishing his 100 freestyle in a time of 1:14.72. We've got that running clock there, so you can keep track of the swimmers that you're watching. All of the athletes have finished. They blow that double whistle so they can head for the wall. In Paralympic, national and international competition, it's pretty much business as usual now. The athletes don't jump out at their lane. They make their way over to the side, to the ladders. That takes a little bit of time, but we've got nothing but time today. It is currently 9:15 U.S. Eastern Time, and we're scheduled to go until about 11:20, 11:30 a.m. There's that Heat 3 start. Heat 4 coming up next. Great turns. Nice dolphin kick. And he was your heat leader there in lane 2. That was Carlos Hernandez. Heat 4. So heat 4 is behind the blocks. You can get a look to see if you're looking for one of those swimmers. And I will announce them rather than do it twice. I'll do this as soon as they start their swims. Little pause there. The starter must not have been happy with them coming down and holding on. So the starter either is having some technical difficulties or they're not happy with how somebody heat 4, or they're not happy with how somebody is coming up and getting set. That's usually not the case. These athletes are business as usual when it comes to coming down and taking their mark. You'll hear them say, "Take your mark," and then they'll start the horn. In the water is heat 4 of 9 of the men's 100-meter freestyle. In lane 1, Michael Drelis. In lane 2, Gianni Mercado. In lane 3, Lander Eicholzer. In lane 4, Vincent McGill. In lane 5, Cirrus Kia. In lane 6, Marcus Vital. In lane 7, Morgan Ray. And in lane 8, Matthias Brambilla. Try to get all those names out as quickly as I can for you. Good race shaping up here in the middle of the pool. That's lanes 3, 4, and 6. Going to be anybody's finish. It looks like our swimmer in lane 4, that's Vincent McGill from the U.S. He swims in the S14 classification. He brought up his kick and his tempo a little bit, but it looks like the long freestyle stroke is going to be the winner here in lane 6. That is Jonathan Gonzalez from Mexico coming in and winning our 4th heat in a time of 1:11.63. Vincent McGill is 1:13.10 over in lane 4, and third in that heat, Lander Eicholzer, the 1:12.42. See how they finish there. You can see my cheat sheet right there in front of the screen for you. Check out your swimmers' times, how they've done. The administrative side of this swim meet is outstanding and on the ball, having all of the information right in front of us. So we better know what's going on. Solid start out of the entire heat. See him coming into the wall there. That's Vincent McGill. Led most of the race until Marcus Vital, it looks like, took it over. Heat 5. A few of these swimmers are covering a lot of the series in the World Series. This is the Indianapolis stop. I am in the water is heat 5. In lane 1, Antoine Saint-Germain. In lane 2, Bastian Montesinos. In lane 3, Moises Alatorre. In lane 4, Isaac Barton. In lane 5, Aiden Williams. Okani Preciado in lane 6. In lane 7, Logan Stephenson. And in lane 8, Ty Austin. Lane 2 and 3 got a good race here. 2 and 4, sorry. That's going to be lane 4, Isaac Barton. Came back in a 34.5. Very good swim, 105.66 for Isaac. Just behind him in lane 2, that was Bastian Montesinos from Chile in a 106.20. Sorry, I was getting messages from the administrative table. That's usually when I fall silent. I'm working something out with the administrative table. Heat 6. They have me announcing the heat a little out of the order that we're used to. So I'm going to find that rhythm as well for you. Sometimes you get new referees, new starters, and they all like to do it their way, or the rules have changed, or the procedures have changed. Generally, we announce the heat in the U.S. after the first set of whistles. This is heat 6 of event number 1, the men's 100-meter freestyle. In lane 1, Lucas Colada. In lane 2, Sebastian Ortiz. In lane 3, Miguel Coronado. In lane 4, Eduardo Castro. In lane 5, TJ Donnan. In lane 6, Taliesin Glock. In lane 7, Andrew Mandujano. And in lane number 8, Martin Saavedra. Sorry, Martin, if I got your last name a little incorrect. This heat so far belongs to lane 2, that is Sebastian Ortiz from Mexico. He swims in the S10 classification. There's also an outside smoker over in lane number 8, that's Ty Austin from the US. Also, he is in the S14 classification. But it looks from here to be lane 2, that is Sebastian Ortiz from Mexico. Sebastian hit the wall in a 102.77. Just behind him, 1/10 behind, 102.87. That's Martin Saavedra. And that concludes our 6th heat. We'll get a look at that heat's start, turn, and finish here after we look at the next heat. There's their final times. Very close, 1/10 of a second, and 6 lanes apart. There's the start of heat number 6. Great dolphin kick, streamlines. Pick up their tempo there coming into the finish. Heat 7. So heat 7 is coming up here. You will have Juan Asienzo in 1 and 2, Owen McNear, Noah Bush in 3, Nestor Ramirez in 4, Jesus Fuentes in 5, Graham Rainsby in 6, in lane 7, Aaron Thomas, and in 8, Diego Rios. There's Ernesto Hernandez from Mexico. making the trip up north to get some fast times. A lot of the athletes here were able to take part in the international classification. Some people getting classified internationally for the first time, some people updating their classifications. From time to time, abilities change, so we have to make sure that our athletes get reclassified so they're in the proper categories, proper classification. So the way that these swimmers are making it to the finals is through a point system. And if you've tuned in before, you've heard me drone on about points, and we can see in the venue, we can see points being updated on a second screen here. We'll go over that as soon as this heat gets started and I get through their names. Heat 7 is underway. In the water is heat number 7. Lane 1, Juan Asensio. In lane 2, Owen McNear. In lane 3, Noah Bush. In 4, Nestor Ramirez. In lane 5, Jesus Fuentes. In lane 6, Graham Rainsby. In lane 7, Aaron Thomas. And in lane 8, Diego Rios. Good turns, very, very close heat. Can't really call a winner. Looks like lane 1 has a little advantage. That's Asensio from Mexico, followed by anybody's race, 7, 3, 1. Juan over there in lane 1 still has about a half a body's length lead, but seasoned freestylers may pick up their kick tempo or their arm speed, and it looks like that's what's happened. And our winner of heat number 7 is Aaron Thomas down in lane number 7 at a 1:01:06. We're not showing a time for second place, and I'm sure that'll come up on the board. But Aaron Thomas there, you can see he was 32:04 on his second 50, 1:01:06. And Aaron entered with a 1:01:58. Our next heat coming up is heat number 8. We have a big mix of new swimmers starting their quad at the international level and quite a few returning Paris Paralympians. Good turn there for all these guys. Noah kind of had Aaron had a pretty good handle on his race, start to finish. Knew what he was doing. Heat 8. Next up is heat number 8. I'm starting to get into my new rhythm of announcing that here in the venue before they blow the whistles. This is heat 8 of 9. We just got these last 2 heats left. We are within a minute of our schedule. In the pool is heat 8 of 9 of the men's 100-meter freestyle mixed classification. In lane 1, Fernando Ramirez. In 2, Noah Jaffe. In lane 3, Callum Simpson. In 4, Cohen Boyd. In 5, Jay Hill. In 6, Evan Wilkerson. In lane 7, Yahir Jimenez. And in lane 8, Caleb Arndt. So this heat is got some Paralympians with Mr. Hill, Jaffe, from the U.S. Out in front there in lane 4, Cohen Boyd. Cohen Boyd, if you tuned into our last live stream, was the swimmer of the meet. He was the swimmer of every race he touched, and it looks like he's on that same track. That's Cohen Boyd, 28.95 on his way back to a 55.8, just off by a couple of hundredths of a second from his best time, which is his entry time. He was entered at a 55.82, and Cohen Boyd first placed in that heat, 55.86. With just one heat to go, there's Noah Jaffe. Just finished his 100-meter freestyle. See these guys get away from the start. Want to see a nice strong grip, leaning a bit forward, holding yourself back. They all got away quite fast. But Cohen Boyd, just textbook, great freestyle swimming. I think in the final you'll probably see that dolphin kick be a little bit quicker as he chases down a new best time. He's just within a 100th or so there. Heat 9. So heat 9 is coming up here. This will be our final heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. All the way from S1 to S14. That covers the whole spectrum of the classifications. In the water is heat 9 of 9 of the men's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. In heat 1, Nathan Hendricks. In lane 2, Lawrence Sapp. In 3, Ricky Batar. In lane 4, Thomas Gallagher. In 5, Simone Barlam. In 6, Rahman Saleh. In 7, Alex Sefi. And in lane 8, Yassine El Demirdash. This is the final heat of the men's 100-meter freestyle. Thomas Gallagher in lane 4 from Australia has a pretty commanding lead. Hit a clearly faster swimmer coming in. He's well over a second faster than everybody else on the heat sheet, which was 51.86. And he finishes, looks like Thomas Gallagher is going to be 52.7, about a second off of his entry time. Second in that heat, up in lane 1, Nathan Hendricks, 54.08. And third in that heat at a 55.5, Rahman Saleh from Azerbaijan. We have swimmers coming up all over that heat. Covered South Africa, the US, Australia, Italy, Azerbaijan. All great racers come to Indy, as they say. You can see their final results there. These times will be tabulated, calculated with a point score, and that's how they'll make it into the finals. You can see that previous heat. Getting ready to start. Very fast off the block, and he took that lead all the way to the finish. Our next event is event number 2, women's 100-meter freestyle multi-class. Heat 1. From time to time on the venue scoreboard, we can see the points that are coming up as the athletes finish. And I'll give you a little bit more information about how that works. In each separate classification, here you can see these, there's after the event and their time, you can see these point scores that they're scrolling through, and I really appreciate the help with the graphics. See, Thomas Gallagher there has the most amount of points. He has the fastest time, but that's not as important. His time is calculated against the world record in his classification, and a world record would be 1,000 points or higher. He has 978 points, so he'd be in the final. Those top 8 names will be your top finalists. Looks like Cohen Boyd just made it in. Nathan Hendricks, Lawrence Sapp, Gabriel, Taliesin, Simone, Callum, Thomas. Those will be your finalists for tonight. And we'll try to do that at the end of each race, not at the end of each heat, so that you can take a quick look at who's going to be our finalists. So our top 8 there, from Cohen Boyd to Thomas Gallagher, for our finals that start at 5 p.m. Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time. If you're looking on your device, it look for New York or Miami or Indianapolis, where we are here. In the pool is heat 1 of event 2, women's 100-meter freestyle. In lane 4, Virginia Gaspar. So we just have one of the 3 swimmers that were scheduled to be in this heat. Virginia makes the choice to do her freestyle on her back. It's a double arm backstroke for freestyle. Freestyle is defined as any strokes as long as you're not using the lane lines or any kind of aid. You're just getting yourself from one side of the pool to the other and back, and that will cover 100 meters. Virginia is here from Mexico. She was going to have some competition from Canada and Puerto Rico in the lanes outside of her, but they, for whatever reason, are not in this event. Beautiful, clean, clear, cool water that these athletes are swimming through. This pool is very high on the use factor in American swimming, and it's very historied venue. Personally, in my coaching career, I have been a part of a couple of NCAA championship teams back in the 1990s when I was coaching with Stanford University through to starting in 96 and 2000. The U.S. picked their Olympic team here. We have picked many of our Paralympic teams. Right now, this meet is also serving the U.S. swimmers as a qualification meet for our World Championships team, for our para swimming World Championships that will be coming up later this year. So the athletes from the U.S., and I'm not sure what other countries may be using their times from this meet, but we already have some very fast swims. We've got an American record from Dylan Measy there in our very first race, first heat, when he went 2:03.7 in the 100 freestyle. That was an unofficial S3 American record. So congratulations to Dylan. Right now, coming back in her second 50, that's Virginia Hernandez Gaspar from Mexico. She is an S2 classification swimmer. She shares an age with me, which I will not share with you. So all props to Virginia. She started her life as I did back in 1967, so you do the math. Outstanding effort. She's kept her tempo pretty much the same throughout the race. You can see how she presses her head forward when she's not pulling, and that keeps her velocity going forward, so she doesn't slow down. So she's got a little bit of a head throw there right before she recovers her arms, and that gives her momentum to get into the finish. She's got about 3 strokes left, and that is Virginia Gaspar from Mexico in a time of her time did not register, so we don't have a time for Virginia, but obviously an outstanding swim. And that concludes our first heat of the women's 100-meter freestyle. We have 11 heats of this race. Virginia makes her way over to the side of the pool. 2:58.9, I believe, was her time, and that scores 233 points in the point tabulation. You can see that there. So we didn't get a time on the clock, but we already have an official time in print put out to us, which is 2:58.94. You can see Virginia's start. And she held that tempo pretty much the same throughout the entire race. That goes to just great training. Heat 2. So next up is Heat 2 of the women's 100-meter freestyle. There she's coming out of her turn. They have hit the long whistle. We've got swimmers starting from in the water, from on the blocks. You can see over there in lane 7 that swimmer may or may not have the ability to grab onto the wall, so her coach just keeps her feet attached to the wall for her start. Another swimmer there goes from a strap that she is biting and her coach is holding the other side of that strap. You're going to see a lot of things, a lot of adaptations that happen so that everybody can get away from their start as fast as possible. In the water is heat 2. In lane 1, Eden Schroeder. In lane 2, Miliani Araujo. In lane 3, Maria Vasquez. In 4, Lorena Torres. In 5, Lily Dobson. In lane 6, Larissa Rodriguez. In lane 7, Gray Rutledge. There are 11 heats. So this is heat 2 of 11. A little bit more of a full field. They're kind of spread out all over, but our top 3 swimmers here, the nice steady tempos. That looks like lane 5, Lily Dobson. She swims in the S6 classification from the U.S. Lily's just 12 years old. A lot of swimmers made their national debut at 12. I think we could go through the list. Erin Popovich, I think, started breaking through around that time. A legendary U.S. Paralympian and legendary World Paralympian. She's in the Hall of Fame at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Also hitting the scene at around 12 is one of our present-day swimming legends, Jessica Long. Long and storied careers out of both of them. Between them, the gold medals alone, I think, are in the 40s or 50s. But in lane 5 here, this is Lily Dobson from the U.S. in a 1:49.46. And that is quite a bit faster than her 1:55 entry time. As our heat 2, you can see there are so many different ways to get down the pool in freestyle. This is a dolphin kick on her back. That is Melanie from Brazil. The Brazilians in the S2, S3 categories that don't have the ability to use their arms in races. The Brazilians are absolute masterful at that dolphin kick on their back and on their side and on their front. They do an incredible job, and they have a medal gallery to prove that. Finishing here in lane number 1, still to go, that is Eden Schroeder from the U.S. She is in the S1 classification. She's showing us that double arm. In most cases, it would be called double arm backstroke. But in this case, this is a freestyle event. Eden's 23, representing the United States at this event. A lot of times in competition, you'll be hearing all of these swimmers' clubs' names, but in World Para Swimming, even when you're the home team, you are representing your nation. So this is a real treat for all of our American athletes that haven't yet made their first national team. They are here representing their home country. Outstanding swim from Eden Schroeder there at a 3:42.3. 3:55 was her entry time. Next up will be our third of 11 heats. You can see all the different ways these women are starting their races. Some holding on by the jaw, some being held by their coach. Coach can hold on, can aid in whatever way is necessary as long as they don't help propel the swimmer forward. That's really the only rule. So most of them are very clear about moving their hands out to the side after an athlete starts. There again is Eden Schroeder finishing up. Out in front there was Lily Dobson, though, swimming well faster than her 1:55. Her 1:55 entry time, you can see the points are starting to stack up there. Our Heat 1 swimmer, Gray Rutledge, is still up there with 278. Heat 3. In the water is Heat 3 of 11 of the women's 100-meter freestyle. This is event 2. In lane 1, Isadora Donoso. In lane 2, Katie Johnson. In 3, Dylan Klink. In 4, Samantha Griffin. In 5, Caitlin Trevor. In lane 6, Ibeth Cuevas. In lane 7, Adriana Pacheco. And in lane 8, Lila Boykins. So we have one missing swimmer in lane number 4 here. Samantha Griffin did not make this heat. Coming into the heat pretty even for a multi-class event. Most of those swimmers in the lead are in the S7, 8, and 9 classifications. Leading the race right now, though, in lane 5, that's Caitlin Trevor from the United States. Close behind her in lane number 3 with that open lane between them. Nice rhythm. You can see she bounces a little bit with her body, but that's necessary. She's just using that one side to get her all of her propulsion out of her left arm. And so the balance that she finds is through a little bit of bouncing to hold on to her velocity forward. But this is Dylan Klink in lane number 3, 1:35.04. We'll see how that stacks up in the points. We're not quite to the heats yet where the times are going to get faster, but those are immaterial when it comes to making the finals. This heat has finished. Second was Isadora Donoso there in lane number 1, and in third, Katie Johnson. Our top 3 swimmers coming from those first 3 lanes. Looks like they've got the points are updated so far. Dylan Klink is in the lead with 396 points headed toward the final. Gray Rutledge is just behind her at 278. You can see lane 1 there, that's Isadora Donoso. Heat 4. Swimmers have made their way out of the pool. Good finish there. Nice long stretch. You can see the points as they're going. We really appreciate seeing these. It's a complicated equation to get to those points. But what they basically do is take their time, put that in the equation for each classification, and right now we have swimmers swimming in the 200s and 300 points, which is pretty far away from the world records, but that won't matter depending on how everyone else swims after them. Right now our top 8 are from 88 points all the way up to 396 points. Heat 4 is about to get going here. You can see there's a lot of stabilization of this heat just randomly. Now the coaches will really just stabilize their hips, and you'll see them pull their hands away as soon as the race starts. Getting feet set. Kind of like a dealer shows their hands to make sure that they didn't do anything with the cards. Our coaches and helpers at the blocks press away and show that they did not in any way help aid the swimmer. Condoleezza Nakazibwe in lane number 1. This is heat 4 in the pool. In lane 1, Condoleezza Nakazibwe in lane 1. In lane 2, Leanne Smith. In 3, Elizabeth Harris. In 4, Mia Clark. In 5, Kenley Taylor. In lane 6, Alejandra Hernandez. In lane 7, Amanda Sheward. And in lane 8, Yareli Gonzalez. This is heat 4 of 11. Heat 4 of 11, Condoleezza Nakazibwe from Uganda has been leading this heat all the way through, start to finish. She got away from the blocks first and just never looked back. Outstanding discipline in her stroke. She keeps her head position absolutely perfect. She throws her head a little bit to breathe, but that could be just helping her to keep her body in balance. That is Condoleezza Nakazibwe from Uganda in lane 1 in a time, of course, her time didn't come up on the board, so we'll get that eventually. Pretty fast heat. All finished up there. It's 9:52 here in Indianapolis, Indiana, where they say all racers come to race. You may have seen or heard of the Indianapolis 500. That is coming up in May, so all of the race fans will be heading to Indianapolis soon. But the swimming race fans are here, and thank you for tuning in to this 2025 World Paraswimming World Series. This is the sole U.S. stop on the series here in 2025. Heat 4 has wrapped up, and we'll hit heat 5 of 11 as soon as these women get out of the pool. See, Condoleezza got away right away. She was first under the flags, first out to 15 meters, first to the halfway point, and continued that. She was challenged there by, I believe, Kenley and Mia, but she was able to handle that. Heat 5. This is heat 5 of 11. See the points there? We've hit into the thousands, so we'll look for an announcement to see if we have somebody under a world record. Leanne Smith, 128.03. She beat her entry time of 131.6. In the water is heat 5 of 11, women's 100-meter freestyle. Ivy Rose Pole in lane 1, Sarah Corrales in 2, Ayala Tefwick in 3, Incy Perez in 4, in lane 5, Vivian Wanditz. In lane 6, Elizabeth Caballero. In lane 7, Mia Dillingham. And in lane 8, Nesbeth Mieja. This is heat 5 of 11. So they're starting to challenge me with their name pronunciation, but I think I'm handling it. All the years that I coached different places around the U.S., we had swimmers from Poland, from Mexico, from Southeast Asia, and all over Europe, in addition to our American swimmers. So there's no name that should challenge me here. We're 54 seconds into this 5th heat. No clear leader. Pretty good race out in the middle of the pool. Nice, steady, long but fast freestyle. Lane 6, that's Elizabeth Caballero. Looks like she's possibly going to finish first, and she does in a time of 1:19.66. Vivian Wanditz right behind her at a 1:19.88. And outside smoker Ivy Rose Pole, was in 3rd place in that heat at 1:21.61. Lane 3's got about 8 meters to go there. See, those sections of lane line are about a meter long, and that long red stretch of lane line is 5 meters long. So that's my cheat sheet in knowing where they are in the pool. That was Ayala Tefwick from Egypt, finishing heat number 5. So the point scores that I talked about before are starting to shape up. Leanne Smith, an S3 swimmer, has over 1,000 points. Good race here in the middle of the pool, and then it scattered out a bit. In lanes 5 and 6, that was Vivian Wandich and Elizabeth Caballero battling it out. Tried to make it in there, but she held her off. Coming up will be Heat 6 of our women's 100-meter freestyle mixed classification. There are 11 heats this morning. Heat 6. It is raring to go. They hear "take your mark," and then the beep that gets them underway. This is Heat 6 of 11. In the water is Heat 6 of 11. In lane 1, Diana Martinez. In lane 2, Tatiana Orsburn. In 3, Hannah Sloan. In 4, Emilia Shanes. In lane 5, Katie Kubiak. In lane 6, Husna Kukandawe. In lane 7, Alma Pinedo. And in lane 8, Kiara Bauer. This is Heat 6 of 11 of the women's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. We're only about 2 minutes off of our morning timeline, so on paper it says we finish at about 11:17 this morning. I think we're going to be probably in the mid to low 11:20s. That's Husna Kukandakwe from Uganda in lane 6, dominating this heat. Her entry time is 1:18.27, and she finishes in a blazing 1:12.40, 38 flat on her way back. Great swim for Husna. Quite fast heat. Most of the athletes in that heat swam faster than their entry time. We'll check that out after we see some results there and we get a recap. It looks like everyone in that heat was faster than their entry time. And then we scroll across here and you can see we've got 2 swimmers with over 1,000 points, Katie Kubiak and Leanne Smith. So it's going to be very, very difficult to make this final tonight. Husna got away so fast from the blocks there to take the lead. There she's already out at the flags when the rest of the heat is turning in that at the 50. Great tempo, great kick, incredible discipline. That's Husna Kukandakwe. Heat 7. Julia Gaffney from the U.S. Loaded heat, a lot of swimmers in this heat. Swam in Paris last summer. This is Heat 7 of 11 of the women's 100-meter freestyle mixed class. In lane 1, Ximena Gonzalez. In lane 2, Tessa Nagy. In 3, McLean Hermes. In lane 4, Julia Gaffney. In lane 5, Nicole Berlovsky. In 6, Halia Lettenberger. In lane 7, Rebecca Lugo. And in lane 8, Diana Claudio. So not only is it mixed class, but it's mixed sport. McLean Hermes in the middle of the pool. Lane 3, not a freestyle sprinter, but her freestyle sprint is going to help her 400, which is going to help her triathlon training. Yeah, she's one of our para-triathletes. Came from swimming, still in swimming, using swimming to make her triathlon better and using triathlon to make her swimming better. No limits. In the middle of the pool in lane 4 and 5, though, that's where our race is. It's Julia Gaffney and Nicole Berlovsky from the U.S. and Mexico. It looks like it's going to be Berlovsky at 1:15.41. 1/10 behind her was Julia Gaffney at 1:15.51. Third place in that heat was over in lane number 6, Ahalia Lettenberger. Great swimming from our women early in the quad. It doesn't get much earlier than the first year after a Paralympic Games. The Paris Games were outstanding. I was able to be there and see that great venue just explode with outstanding swimming. Incredible crowd participation. It was deafening, especially when a French home team swimmer was in the pool. There's your results from heat number 7. Tovar Berlovsky from Mexico was first in 1:15.41. We'll scroll over and see if anybody is broken into the top 8. 6:04 right now is the amount of points that you need. Heat 8. Katie Kubiak just got the Americas record for women's S4 100-meter free at 1:19.77. There are American records and Americas records. The Americas is a region of Paralympic swimming, Paralympic sport. It encompasses all of North and South America geographically. In the water is heat 8 of 11. In lane 1, Elise Morley. In 2, Momo Sutton. In 3, Gabby Farinas. In 4, Ellie Marks. In lane 5, Paola Nunez. In 6, Ali Deal. In 7, Casey Freeman. In 8, Dariana Andrade. So we're seeing something we haven't seen so far. You notice in lane 4, that's Ellie Marks. She has a tapper, and there's any sort of potential visual impairment. The athletes are able to have a coach or an aide tap them a certain amount of strokes away from the finish, and we'll see that in her finish. She's currently 4th or 5th in this heat in lane 2 right now. That is Momo Sutton by about a body length. There is Ellie's tapper, coach and husband. She likes to get tapped on that shoulder about 2 strokes away from the wall, gets in for a great finish. As that heat wraps up, our first place time, Momo Sutton, of 1:11.82. And second in that heat, way over in lane 7, Casey Freeman, and in lane 3, Ali Deal from Canada, 1:13.25. See their times there as our next heat is posted. Wow, what an explosive start there in lane 2 from Momo Sutton. She handled that. Heat 9. Momo really controlled that race from start to finish. Becoming Paralympic legend, Ellie Marks from the United States Army World-Class Athlete Program. Multiple world record holder, gold medalist, and all around great person. If you get a chance to meet her, listen to her talk, take that chance. In the water is heat 9 of 11. In lane 1, Abby Kershaw. In 2, Brianna Mata. In lane 3, Kara Pennington. In 4, Britt Conrad. In 5, Keegan Knott. In lane 6, Morgan Stickney. In 7, Liberty Freeman. And in lane number 8, Callie Prochaska. This is heat 9 of 11 of the women's 100-meter freestyle. as we get closer to the end of this event. Our next event that will be coming up will be the men's 150 individual medley. A little different than what you normally see. These gentlemen's normal is 150 individual medley. In lane 7, that's Liberty Freeman handling this 9th heat. Her entry time is 1:11.06, and she goes 1:09.51. There is something in the water here in Indianapolis this week. We are seeing very fast times up against their entry times. Outstanding swimming by the entire heat there. I'm sure you're noticing, I'm noticing I'm using two different voices, one for the venue, one for the live stream. Looks like 8th right now. Liberty Freeman is squeaked in there with 800 points. But that's about to change. We hope. We always want the fastest, most competitive finals that we can get to. That was a good race across the pool. If you weren't in the race for the lead, you were in the race for somebody for your place. So that alone is keeping this meet competitive as these swimmers are gathering from all over the world. Heat 9. Heat 10. I get a couple of oopses each session. This is Heat 10, not 9. For those of you following along, I think the heat sheets are published at teamusa.org under Paraswimming. You can find all the meet information. Heat 10 of 11, women's 100-meter freestyle. In lane 1, Sylvia Moreno. In 2, Mary Jibb. In lane 3, Lakeisha Patterson. In lane 4, Kale Thompson. In lane 5, Emily Beecroft. In lane 6, Victoria Nicholson. In lane 7, Taylor Winnett. And in lane 8, Piper Sadowski. Taylor Winnett always acknowledges to me on the deck that I talked about her being a breaststroker once, and she claims not to be a breaststroker. She's not doing any breaststroke at this meet, but always fun giving her a hard time about that. Good, long, strong freestyle here out of the middle of the pool. A couple of swimmers from Australia. That's Kale Thompson and Emily Beecroft going to go 1-2 in this 10th heat. It looks like it's going to be Emily Beecroft, 33.89 coming back on her second 50, 104.86, followed by Kale Thompson in lane 4, 105.03. Third in that heat, Mary Jibb from Canada, 105.80. Great swimming. Great place to swim, great time to swim. It's a beautiful spring day here in Indianapolis, Indiana, in the U.S. See, Leanne is holding strong with that top. We have moved into the 900s to be able to make that final heat tonight. Victoria at 893 will likely get bumped as we approach our final heat, Heat 11. Great swimming. I'm sure their coaches, selves, and families are very happy seeing them go fast, especially coming from the other side of the planet to compete here. There's a pretty large team from Australia, well represented here in Indianapolis. In the water is the 11th and final heat of the women's 100-meter freestyle, event number 2. In lane 1, Jenna Jones. In 2, Grace Newfer. In 3, Ruby Storm. In lane 4, Alexa Leary. In 5, Olivia Chambers. In 6, Gia Pergolini. In 7, Poppy Wilson. In lane 8, Stephanie Zapata. So this is definitely a mixed international heat with 4 swimmers from Australia, 1 from Mexico, and the other 3 are from here in the United States. Our lane 4 was a no-show. So Alexa Leary from Australia is not swimming in this event. And the same goes for Stephanie Zapata from Mexico. She is not swimming in this event. Great long, strong finish there. Olivia Chambers, we're used to seeing that. She finishes in a 1:00:89. Her entry time being 1:00:12. So she's just off her entry time. Never know if these athletes are entered at their fastest times or just times of what they think they're capable of. Our next event is event number 3, the men's 150-meter individual medley multi-class. There is one heat. So that looks like Lakeisha Patterson is going to be your final qualifier for tonight. So they're testing the starting system at the other end of the pool where they're going to start the 150-meter IM. The 150-meter IM, if you're a little puzzled, in these classifications, SM1 to SM4, that's S for swimming, M for medley, and then their classification for this event. There are just 4 classifications that do this event, and that is the 150-meter individual medley. They do not swim the butterfly, so they'll be swimming a 50 back, 50 breast, 50 free. Heat 1. We just have one heat of men, and it looks like we just have one heat of women. Then we'll have some 50 butterflies, men then women, and the 200 freestyle this morning. So these athletes are starting a number of different ways, most of them in the water because it's a backstroke start. Last swimmer just remembering, oh my gosh, I got to do this one from in the water. You always get to have those human moments, and that's where some of the best memories happen. You can see in lane 4, he's going to start by holding on to that. When they say take your mark, he will probably pull himself up like a backstroke start. That's Gabriel Araujo from Brazil. You're in for a treat. So something didn't look quite right for the starter, so she called them down to relax. Either something with the timing system, which never goes bad here in Indianapolis, and outstanding electronics and outstanding staff at the Natatorium. It's rarely the electronics that we're waiting for. Sometimes it's just the start that an athlete was maybe moving or not quite in the good position, and they'll restart this heat. That's frustrating when you're using equipment on your start, so he's got to kind of re-grip his bite down on that strap. Some swimmers will have a bite plate. Some of them just are right on the material. Yeah, something's not sure why they're stalling again. Apparently the referees were not happy with his foot position. He may have had, well, let's take a look and see where his feet are on this start. So he's definitely taking the starter's command. He may have had his feet above the surface, which you can't do. You can't curl your toes around that corner. You can get yourself a little advantage. So he heads deep, goes right into that dolphin kick. You're going to see him hold a very, very steady head position. The other 2 backstrokers are just behind. But you're looking at a legend in the making, Gabriel from Brazil. We'll just see how close he is to his time of 3:14.02. Emiliano Ceja from Mexico in lane 5 as a 4:49.9. In the pool is the first and only heat of event number 3, men's 150-meter individual medley multi-class. In lane 3, Dylan Measy. In lane 4, Gabriela Dos Santos. In lane 5, Emiliano Ceja. So coming into his turn, he will use his head to finish, and then he's got to be on his breast for the breaststroke. So he's going to keep that kicking tempo up for pretty much the whole distance. See, when he gets down in, he keeps his head pretty steady. That prevents a slowdown. Does look up quite a bit to get his breath, but that works right into the stroke rhythm that's coming from his hips and his core. Dylan Measy there in lane 3 on the left side of your screen. He has an unofficial American record from his first event in the 100-meter freestyle, where he swam, I'm looking for that time, I have it written down here. He was 2:03.7 in his 100 freestyle for S3, and that is an unofficial American record. We had one other record this morning. Katie Kubiak broke an America's record, that's North and South America combined, in the women's S4 100-meter freestyle with a time of 1:19.77. Dylan's making a push here on Gabrielle. Gabrielle might not be used to that. They're in different classifications, but they're both racing to get as close as they can to score those points towards the world record. But with just 3 in this heat, I don't know that they will advance to a final and swim this again, or if this is their final. We'll try to find that out for you. Sometimes when there aren't enough swimmers to challenge for a top 8, like in this race there's just 3 swimmers, sometimes it would just be a timed final event and they wouldn't swim both times. I'm a big believer that they should get a shot to swim at prelims and finals, because that is what they should see at the Paralympic Games. So you definitely want to practice doing whatever it would be like at the Games. Dylan's using that freestyle, and he is inching up, but I don't know if there's enough pool. He's just gotten up to Gabriel's hips, and it looks like it's going to be Gabriel there in lane number 4 in a time. Again, his time didn't come up. Dylan's time was 3:46.4. And Emiliano from Mexico there in lane number 5. He's got about 30 meters to go in this first and only heat of the men's 150-meter individual medley. He's got a good steady stroke pace there. Keeps his upper body in line quite well. Doesn't breathe too high, keeps his head in line so he's not bouncing around. A perfect breathing position would be one goggle in, one goggle out, with your head tilted slightly forward. He is very, very close to that, swimming with wonderful technique. That is Emiliano from Mexico. He entered with a 4:49.9. He's going to be a bit slower than that in this race. He keeps it under 5 minutes, though, at a 4:59.7. See those finals. It's a good start here. I think toes were above the gutter there on those first 2 attempts at a start, and the official came over to tell him he's got to get those toes under the surface for a fair start. dominated up until the freestyle, where Dylan, our new American record holder, came up on him. There's the end of the breaststroke. Looks like he actually made his move on the breaststroke, and he was not able to keep up with Gabriel. Outstanding swim for both of these men. Dylan being just 12 and Gabriel being 23. So we had a rookie and a veteran. Next event is event number 4, the women's 150-meter individual medley. There is one heat. Heat 1. Just 3 swimmers in this one and only heat: Jordan Tucker, Katie Kubiak, and Larissa Rodriguez. We've got the Americas covered here with Canada, the US, and Brazil. They're taking their start positions after that long whistle where they're able to get in the pool. Now she starts with a strap to hold on for her backstroke start without the coach holding it. So she does it solo and independent. Independence in life is what we're striving for in the Paralympic movement. It's not happening everywhere in the world, but we are making marks everywhere we go. This is the 2025 World Paraswimming World Series. This is the only stop in the United States here in Indianapolis. Traditionally, we're here in Indianapolis. I think 1 or 2 times we have strayed down to Florida and up to Minnesota. We thank those great hosts, but we're back home in Indiana. It's a typical spring morning here in Indianapolis. Jordan Tucker from Canada is swimming a pretty dominant race. She's 3:42 for her entry time, and I am incorrect, which is pretty normal. 2:54 is Katie Kubiak's time. Katie from the US is really dominating the race. Larissa Rodriguez from Brazil is just turning there at the 50 for her backstroke to breaststroke. The official over her lane watching to make sure she does that legally. But Katie Kubiak is well out in front, almost 30 meters in the lead. She swims in the SM4 classification. She's 21 and representing the U.S. here at the 2025 World Paraswimming World Series in Indianapolis at the legendary IU Natatorium. It used to be the IUPUI back when Indiana University and Purdue Universities in Indianapolis shared a lot of these facilities and a lot of their classrooms. They decided a few years ago to split, and Indiana University has assumed responsibilities of running the Natatorium, and they're doing an outstanding job. Purdue is still in town, though. I can guarantee you that. Expanding on a daily basis. Katie Kubiak just got about 5 meters to go in her 150 IM. 2:54 was her entry time. She's going to hit the wall almost 20 seconds faster at 2:34.88. Outstanding swim from Katie Kubiak from start to finish. Following her is Larissa Rodriguez from Brazil. She has just begun her freestyle portion of the race. As she approaches that yellow mark on the lane lines, that means she has 35 meters to go. That's 15 meters from the wall. This is our only heat of the women's 150-meter IM. Next up, we have 2 heats of the men's 50 butterfly, and then 3 heats of the women's 50 butterfly. And that is multi-class, but classifications S2 to 7 on both men and women of those races. She is breathing bilaterally Even a big word for me, just means she's breathing to both sides. And that's how she keeps her rhythm and her balance. That's Larissa Rodriguez from Brazil, finishing second in our only heat of the women's 150-meter IM. She entered with a time of 3:41, and we don't have a finish time for her. There they get away quite fast for the starts that they're using. Katie's really got a great back, breast, and free, and she may not wish that there's butterfly in this race, but I wish there was butterfly for her in her IM. Dominant performance. The next event is event number 5, the men's 50-meter butterfly. There are 2 heats. Heat 1. See your start list on the screen. Sebastian, Hubert, Gabriel, Jackson, Carlos, Aldo, and Nicholas in this first of 3 heats of the men's S2 to S7 50-meter butterfly. We have Canada, Poland, Brazil, Mexico, and the United States represented in this heat. Take their positions. Some with the stabilization, some on their own. In the water is heat 1 of 2, men's 50-meter butterfly, multi-class S2 to 7. In lane 1, Sebastian Masabi. In 2, Hubert Podorski. In lane 3, Gabriel Dos Santos. In lane 4, Jackson Ingram. In 5, Carlos Hernandez. In 6, Aldo Perez. In lane 7, Nicolas Montes. In the previous heat, Katie Kubiak just broke the Americas record for the women's S4 100-meter free in the previous event, 1:19.77. Want to announce that for the room, and not sure they're hearing anything that I'm saying. There was no reaction. 50 fly comes and goes by pretty fast. First to the wall, it was an outside smoker in lane 1. That was Sebastian Masabi from Canada. In second place, Jackson Ingram from the U.S. in a 40.95, and third in that heat was Hernandez from Mexico in 48.09. So you'll hear different continental records. Our crack administrative staff, Katie Kubiak, may have broken something there. She had 1,042 points in that previous heat in her 150 IM. It's a clear and dominant winner mid-pool there. Not quite ready for me to call heat 2 as these guys get out of the water. They want to clear the pool before we get the next heat up on the blocks. Heat 2. Pretty special swim I'm going to talk about of Katie's 150 individual medley. Not sure what the delay is. Sometimes the officials need to get something straightened up before they start the next heat. Heat 2. In the water is heat 2 of the men's 50-meter butterfly. In lane 1, Ruben Lopez. In 2, Josue Rodrigo. In lane 3, Noah Thomas. In lane 4, Aiden Williams. In lane 5, Zach Shattuck. In 6, Abbas Karimi. In lane 7, Matthias Brambilla. And in lane 8, Alex Cooper. We'll see all kinds of butterfly style here. In lane 7, very handily, that's Brambilla from Brazil, taking the win in a 32.7, also in his classification, but 6th in that heat is Abbas Karimi, a Paralympian from Paris for the United States. The next event is the women's Event 6 50-meter butterfly multi-class. A couple of heats ago, you noticed Katie Kubiak dominating that heat in the 150 medley. She broke the Americas, and the world record for women's S4 in a time of 2:34.88. Congratulations, Katie. That is unofficial. Heat 1. And Katie is scheduled to be in this heat. So, wow. What a day. America's record in the 100 free. America's, American, and world record in the 150 medley. And I don't see her lined up. I know if I was her coach, I might give her a little break and not, quote, make her swim the next swim, which is the 50-meter butterfly. But if she shows up, she would be in lane 2. It looks like lane 2 is empty here. Always exciting when you get to watch a world record, and that was such a dominant swim by Katie. And I don't mean dominant on her competition, I mean dominant in how she attacked that race. Okay, this is something we do not normally see, is that they're calling back a heat electronically. Really causes a lot of confusion. I'm sure you can hear in the background. We do have a swimmer that's not getting the message to stop. There, she held up. So they'll have, they will usually let these swimmers have a little bit of a break in time. Your swimmer in lane 2, that is your new world record holder, Katie Kubiak. Ooh. Gosh, it wasn't enough to break 2 records. She's already swum half of the next race, and she's got to get up and do it again. So they'll figure it out. They'll either give this heat a short break and then come back to them, or they'll have them pop back up. It looks like I see some coaches walking down. You can see a coach there walking down, probably to make sure she's going to get the proper rest she needs. There's generally not a recall like they just did, so something must have gone awry in that start. We'll take another look at that start and see if somebody went. Yeah, it looks like there's possibly a false start, but what happened there is a swimmer heard the recall in the air and stopped. She did a flip. I'm not going to point out which lane, because it looked like a couple of swimmers actually went a little sooner than the start. I'm not aware that they would recall a heat for a false start, but that is the case. We'll generally let the heat swim and then inform the swimmer at the end of the race that they false started. So it could have just been some quick thinking from an official or quick reaction. We are either going to wait with this heat, or they're going to move heat 2 forward. Right now, looks like Katie, your new world record holder, is just kind of hanging there in the outside of lane 1 with a coach representing her in discussing if she's ready to go right away or if they're going to hold up, let the next heat go, and then come back to this heat 1. Sometimes that's how they do it, but every situation's a little different, unique. Coach is getting her some hydration. She certainly should get whatever she needs. All the swimmers in that heat should get whatever they need so that they can be ready for their race. It looks like they're bringing the next heat out. So we may swim heat 2 and then come back to heat 1, or heat 2 and 3 and come back to heat 1. So we've got the start list there for heat 2. Lila, Gabby, Amanda, Shelby, Mia, Yuretsi, Hannah, and Dylan. Looks like they're lining up ready to go, and they'll probably move that first heat. There was a disqualification in event number 5. Lane 1, heat 2. World Para Swimming Rule number 11.5.3. It is 10:37. Heat 2. So we are going to swim heat 2 here, and then we'll come back to it for heat 1. So they'll give those heat 1 swimmers a time to catch their breath. They're allowing Katie to remain there in the pool in lane number, in the outside of the outside lanes. This is heat 2 of 3. Lane 1, Lila Boykins. 2, Gabby Schoperth. Lane 3, Amanda Sheward. Lane 4, Shelby Newkirk. In lane 5, Mia Dillingham. In lane 6, Yuretsi Garcia. In lane 7, Hannah Ouellette. And in lane 8, Dylan Klink. This is heat 2 of 3, and heat 1 will be re-swum shortly. At least nobody's told me that, but I'm sure that's coming. I don't know if they'll go after heat 3 or if they go up next, but we'll find that out. But in heat 2, your winner, Hernandez Garcia from Mexico, in a 49.99. In lane 3, Amanda Sheward from the U.S. at 51.05. And Shelby Newkirk, 52.33, was third in that second heat. She's traveled here from Canada. Looks like heat 3 is going to swim, and then we'll probably come back to the first heat. Heat 2 start. There they go. Good race across the pool, but at that finish, you can see in lane 6, Yuretsi Garcia from Mexico. Entered time was 54.13. Heat 3. Heat 3 is going to swim now, and then we'll go back to heat 1. just got that note, so that is official what we're doing. In the water is heat 3 of event number 6. In 1, Incy Perez. In 2, Carla Gonzalez. In 3, Ellie Marks. In lane 4, Danielle Norris. Mallory Wigeman in 5. In 6, Julia Gaffney. In 7, Nesbeth Mieja. In 8, Sarah Corrales. Good race here. Good race here. I had the venue mic on, sorry. Lane 4, dominating her way down the pool from Canada, that's Danielle Doris. She comes in a time of 35:17. Julia Gaffney just behind her in 37:12. We're going to swim heat 1 next. The next race will be heat 1 of event number 6. So we're swimming this race a little out of order, but that's to ensure that our swimmers from heat 1 that got recalled from their start. See how fast everybody gets away from the blocks here. Pretty amazing considering all of the different disabilities around the pool is what most people would say, but to me that's considering all of the abilities coming off those blocks. Great finish, great start. We're back to heat 1 now. Not sure how long they're going to get before we race. The next race will be a re-swim of heat number 1, event 6. So they're going to work things out administratively here really quick to do some resetting in the timing system in the computer and make sure that we get everybody to their lanes. That was a good amount of rest considering what had happened. I don't know that we lost a swimmer to disqualification. It appears there are 5 swimmers behind the blocks, so heat 1. Heat 1 is finally up. Bottom of your screen there, that's Katie Kubiak that just broke the world record in the medley, the individual medley in her sport class. And just before that, she broke the Americas and American record in the 100-meter freestyle. So she's off and away here in the 50 fly along with the entire heat. In lane 2, Katie Kubiak. In 3, Adriana Pacheco. Lane 4, Yarly Gonzalez. Lane 5, Lorena Puente Torres. And in lane 6, Mia Clark. Mia Clark came out to a dominant start, but she was able to get away from the blocks. Katie Kubiak's coming up and taking over the heat, it looks like. She has not used the blocks for her start. And it looks like Katie Kubiak in that last little instant took the swim in a 40.24. And Mia Clark just behind her U.S. teammate in a 40.31. The rest of the heat coming in here with 5 meters to go. That's Adriana Pacheco, Gonzalez, and Torres in that order. Lane 3, lane 4, lane 5. Great swimming, especially considering that they had to do a restart. That's a little unnerving when you're an athlete. But these guys are seasoned pros. It's just good to see their coaches go down and kind of defend and make sure that they get the amount of rest that they needed. That was the completion. We're going to move on to our final 2 events, the 200-meter freestyle. That's 4 laps of the pool, so down and back twice. See how fast she gets away from the dive, and then Katie slowly just inches up, even with a little bit of a lower tempo. Her stroke rate or her tempo picks up there, and she gets in here a tenth faster for that finish. There's a lesson right there, no matter who you are. If you're a swimmer, always stretch out to that long finish. If you take another stroke, it can cost you, and it did there. Our next event is the men's 200-meter freestyle, S1 to 5 and S14. There are 3 heats. We're just about 4 minutes slower than our predicted timeline this morning. Those timelines don't account for recall starts and the amount of time it takes to get in and get ready and get out of the pool. Those are all just guesses. So if you ever see a timeline for a swim meet, it's not going to be accurate very often, unless you're on a very tight network or world TV schedule. We are broadcasting around the world, I hope, via Facebook and World Para Swimming and teamusa.org. You can find the links to this, but I don't have to tell you that, because if you're hearing me, you already know that. Let your friends know. Let's get our viewership up. Heat 1. This is Heat 1 of the men's 200-meter freestyle. There's 3 heats. Just 3 guys in this first heat. That's what I was talking about earlier, where a swimmer doesn't start from the side or the block, they start from in the water. The only real rule that has to happen is that they have contact with the wall. So if they don't have that ability, a coach will hold their feet or hold their hand at the wall, and then as soon as the start is taken, they move their hands away and the swimmers are off. This is Heat 1 of 3 of event number 7, men's 200-meter freestyle, multi-class, S1 to 5 and S14. In lane 4, Alberto Diaz, and in lane 5, Dylan Mazy. There was a disqualification in event number 6, Heat 2, lane 8. World Para Swimming Rule 11.5.3. It is 10:49. So I have to give that information to the room and give the time that I announce it, because they have 30 minutes now to lodge a protest or get a clarification of that disqualification. There's a whole administrative process if you don't believe your athlete did do the stroke infraction. Then you have time to, in writing, send our question for clarification or protest the disqualification. There was a disqualification in event 6, Heat 1, lane 5, World Para Swimming Rule 11.5.2.4. So what I announce is the event, the heat, the lane, and then the actual rule number. So that one was 11.5.2.4. It's very specific when they give those. Really a quite close race for a Heat 1. This is Dylan out in front. We saw Dylan do something pretty special in the 100 freestyle earlier today when he broke an American record in his first event and our first swim. He's 4:22 as an entry time, and he is in that 2:20 area right now. And there is another disqualification. When you get into the multiple strokes, like the 150 IM, sometimes in the butterfly, you get some disqualifications. There was a disqualification in event 6, Heat 3, lane 7, World Para Swimming Rule 11.5.8.
It is 10:51. So just three or four swims out of all of our swims so far today have shown a disqualification in some way. What I was saying before is that the coach or athlete representative or the athlete themselves can write a protest or ask for clarification of a stroke infraction or a disqualification. They have 30 minutes from the time I announce that to the venue. They have 30 minutes to turn that in. It's a good, fair procedure. Then what happens is they get a further explanation in writing. And then if they don't accept that, they can actually appeal. So there's 3 or 4 steps to defend how the swimmer did. Dylan, we don't need to explain how Dylan's doing. He's killing it. He's got about maybe 8 meters left in this 200-meter freestyle. His entry time was 4:22. He's going to be well under that. Clock's at 4:15 now. 4:17.75 for Dylan Mezi from the U.S. And just behind him from Chile, Alberto Arbaza Diaz. He's got about 2 strokes to go, getting second in that heat. And his time did not come up. It didn't register, but we'll get that in our official results. Hear that double whistle. These guys now will head to the side to get out. And the next heat is lined up and ready to go. These guys will take the time they need to get to the side of the pool. There's no rush on them, but they definitely need to head there now. Dylan got away pretty quick. They both had quite a good start. Dylan takes 4 strokes per breath, and he holds that rhythm pretty well. Alberto swimming his freestyle on his back. He's not limited in his breathing at all. Heat 2. We move on to our last page as I'm seeing it. We do have another disqualification that I need to announce. In the pool is heat 2 of 3. In lane 2, Vincent McGill. In lane 3, Ahmed Hashad. In lane 4, Ty Austin. In lane 5, Gianni Mercado. In lane 6, Ruben Rangel Lopez. And in lane 7, Gabriel Dos Santos Araujo. There was a disqualification in event 6, heat 3, lane 7, World Para Swimming Rule number 11.5.3. It is 10:55. I confused the time she sent it to me when I said it. Good duel happening in the middle of the pool. That's Ty Austin and Gianni Mercado, both of the U.S. I don't have listed everybody's home club, but that's okay because when you're in a World Para Swimming World Series meet, you represent your country, not just your club at home. But the incredible support that's coming from all the clubs and federations to get these swimmers here, not just from the U.S. and the Americas, but swimmers here from all over the world. This heat alone, Ahmad Hashad in lane 3 is from Egypt. Ruben from Mexico, and Gabriel, as we all know, is from Brazil, along with our 2 U.S. swimmers out there in the middle of the pool. They're in the lead, going almost to synchro here, stroke for stroke, in our second of 3 heats of the men's 200-meter freestyle. This is the final men's heat of the, or men's event of the morning. We just have one more heat after this. They're going to turn together at the 150. I believe Ty has taken a little bit of a lead at the turn, but then Gianni came up, breathed, and saw him, and is gonna not let him just have a lead. You can see a lot more bubbles, indication of a good finishing effort happening for both of them. Gianni Mercado is pushing hard on Ty Austin. It's anybody's race. Oh, goes down to the reach, and it is Gianni Mercado. Oh, arm length. Speaking from your announcer's standpoint, not having the longest arms in the world, oh, that's tough. But a great finish and a great full swim by Ty. Ty's time didn't come up, but Gianni Mercado from the U.S. was 240.04. From Mexico, Ruben Rangel Lopez was 44.3 on his second 50 and 253.80 for that swim. Great swim from our second of 3 heats. In lane 7, Gabriel dos Santos from Brazil entered with a 3:58. He's got 2, he's doing a 2-cycle breath, so he'll go 2 full dolphin kick cycles, and he'll come up and breathe. You can see the bubbles coming off around the side of his face there when his face is in the water. Very, very intelligent breathing. You don't want to hold your breath when you're racing. You want to give your heart and lungs a chance to get their rhythm as well. It's not just about a kick rhythm, but your whole body's got to be in rhythm. 200 meters freestyle, swimming with the dolphin kick, breathing every other stroke. Incredible racing. And up against the record, the way that the points work, you know, Gabriel's got a shot at making a final. He was 3:58.92, finished in 4:20, so he's 22 seconds from his best time, but he did put in a great 50 fly, great 100 free already today. If he's a sprinter, that 200 is definitely a distance event for him, but an outstanding effort all the way across the pool. Our final heat of men is coming up next, the men's 200 meter freestyle. This is classifications S1 to S5 and S14. So everybody isn't in the 200 freestyle in this meet. Or everybody can enter the race, but you would have to swim up to the nearest classification above yours in order to compete. Heat 3. Our third and final heat. We've made up some time on the timeline. We're supposed to be starting this event at 10:58. It is 11 o'clock straight up right now. You are watching the 2025 World Paraswimming World Series, the Seoul, U.S. stop. The meet has almost doubled or more as we're heading towards Los Angeles. You're going to find a lot of international federations are going to start practicing their travel and getting their athletes used to coming to the U.S. as they will be competing in 2028 in the Paralympic Games. In the water is heat 3 of 3 in the men's 200 meter freestyle. Antonio Fricano in lane 1. In 2, Juan Antonio Ruiz Asensio in lane 3. Trevor Lucasco in 4. Darren Sisman In 5, Lawrence Sapp. In 6, Cameron Chambers. In 7, Andrew Mandujano. And in lane 8, Cirrus Kia. This is the final heat of the men's 200-meter freestyle, event 7. You hear me enunciate a little bit better when I've got the microphone in front of me for the venue. This is a very big room. I want to be crystal clear for everyone, whereas you at home or on your phone are just hearing me sometimes with my mindless chatter about all of these races. Darren Sisman just above or just faster than Lawrence Sapp at the 150. Good splits, 32.9 for Lawrence on that one. Darren Sisman coming all the way from Australia, swimming the S14 classification. He entered this race with a 158.69. He's going to be just above that with a 159.47. And just behind him in lane number 5, that's Lawrence Sapp from the United States in 2:05.27. Third in that heat, Trevor Lukasco, 2:11.73. Some of these athletes were in the resident team that's not being run right now out of Colorado Springs, the headquarters of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. A lot of times they take a break of that program, so these athletes have found a new place to do their training, which is a very positive thing. Change can be good. This finish of the race there, that's Cirrus Kia in lane 8 with 2:41.32. That's the end of our men's 200-meter freestyle. We have just one event left, and there are just 2 heats in that event, and then we're gonna say goodbye and see you at, hopefully we'll see you again at 5 o'clock for our finals tonight. Right here, same station. The next event is event number 8, the women's 200-meter freestyle multi-class S1 to 5 and S14. There are 2 heats. Heat 1. Get that second whistle. Some of these athletes are going to get in from the water. We have a full heat. It looks like everybody showed for this heat. See the men's points there, and it looks like Juan Ruiz from Mexico is our 8th place, 619 points, all the way up to 929 with Darren Sisman from Australia. We'll see them all in the final tonight. In the water is heat 1 of event 8. There are 2 heats. Miliane Arroyo from Brazil in lane 1. Leanne Smith in 2. Clemence Pare in lane 3. Victoria Santiago in 4. In lane 5, Caitlin Trevor. In lane 6, Yaretsi Hernandez Garcia. In 7, Larissa Rodriguez. And in lane 8, Virginia Hernandez Gaspar. Well, I just kind of tripped over myself. Not even difficult names to pronounce. Some of the swimmers in the 200 freestyle will hold back a little, but that is not happening in our first of the women's heats. In lane 4, well out in front, that's Victoria Santiago from Puerto Rico. She entered the race with a 3:07.5, which is 25 or so seconds faster than the next entrant. So this is playing out just as it should. She turns at the 100. She did her at 126.1. So she is on track to swim a little bit faster than her entry time. Third there at the 100, that's Caitlin Trevor. Turning in lane 6, Yuretsi Garcia from Mexico. But well out in front of the heat, that is lane 4, Victoria Santiago from Puerto Rico. She swims in the S14 classification. Holding a good steady pace, but she is even there at the 150. But slightly increased her kick tempo and her arm speed for the last 50. And holding. She did pop out ahead, but then in lane 2, she's given her, that's Clements from Canada. She's challenging her the whole way. I think when they breathe towards each other, they see each other and they speed up. Victoria Santiago, though, I believe is going to take this race. Again, she was entered at a 3:07. She's a bit slower than that at a 3:14.5. 50.3 on her last 50. And next to her, it was Leanne Smith, who entered at a 4:10 and finished at a 3:16. That was an incredible swim for Leanne Smith. We'll see what that does as far as getting her in a final. Leanne Smith swims in the S3 classification, whereas Victoria is in the S14. Leanne's had quite a great new comeback in her swimming career, leading into Paris and now clearly continuing that charge. In lane 3, Clements from Canada coming in at a time of, looks like 4:06.01, which is just off of her entry time. Got a couple swimmers left to go. They're in lane 7 and 8. Lane 7 coming into her finish next, also in lane 1 there, doing golf and kick on her back. That is Miliane Araujo from Brazil. The Brazilian culture of having great dolphin kicking is showing itself well here at the Indianapolis stop of the World Series. Finishing in lane 7 there, that was Larissa Rodriguez from Brazil. Her entry time was 4:44, and she finished that in 5 minutes. We're seeing some times a little off compared to the first 2 or 3 races, but the thing that you may not be paying attention to is some of these athletes are swimming all of these races. So lane 8 there, that is Virginia Gaspar from Mexico, turning for her last 50 of this 200. It's a 50-meter pool, so 4 laps of this, or 4 lengths, depending on how you look at it, is a 200. Virginia's having a fine race. She's entered at 7:47, so based on where she is right now with her splits and her time, she should be swimming pretty close to a best time. She's got about 35 meters left to go. That's what that yellow mark tells me. The official's walking along. It's a freestyle race, so there's really not a stroke infraction you could do. The only thing that we don't want to see her do is get tangled up on that lane line and inadvertently push off of a lane line. She certainly wouldn't do that on purpose, but it would be a rule infraction if she did that even accidentally. But she's a seasoned pro. She knows what she's doing. I'm not sure if it's part of her stroke style or if she's looking back to see the lane line so that she keeps her stuff going in a straight line. 50 meters is a long way to go in a straight line when you aren't looking at the bottom of the pool. You can see on the bottom of the pool those straight back lines are dead center in each lane, whereas she is probably using the lane line and judging her distance from the lane line to stay in a straight line. 6:55 right now, so she is going to be much faster than her entry time of 7:47. In that 30 seconds or so, faster than her entry time. Outstanding swim. These ladies are going to exit the pool. We see the results here. They wiped them off right when we went to look at it. You can see our next heat coming up, though. Heat played out kind of like the start played out. Victoria Santiago from Puerto Rico handled pretty much that whole race. She had it in hand. We'll have a little bit faster final times here in this next heat with Emma Van Dyke from Canada entering at a 2:18.20 and Cale Thompson from Australia at 2:20. So there's just 2 seconds in entry times between the two entrants in the next heat. Heat 2. Next heat is our final heat of the morning. Really want to thank you for joining us. You look up at that lane 1, there she is again, Katie Kubiak, swimming in the S4 class. And Abby, Piper, Emma, Cale, Dariana, Tessie, and Melinda. We'll see if they're up for getting as close to a world record as Katie has very capably already done today. A lot of athletes are kind of reassessing if they want to continue swimming after a Paralympic Games. Some of the athletes are here because they need to get either reclassified or their classification has expired for international swimming. And some of them are just here to get some great racing done here in one of the greatest pools in the United States, and I think in the world. It's definitely on the top 10 list. No surprises here. Emma Van Dyke is out in front of the heat. She's here from Canada. I made a mistake again. That's Cale Thompson from Australia out in front of the heat. My apologies to my friends down under. If you're up and watching this, thank you so much. I'll try not to goof too many things up. Emma's staying at Cale's feet, so we could have a great second half. It's a very, very typical Australian thing to see, getting away from the blocks very fast, putting yourself out in front of the heat, and then getting into a pace. A lot of swimmers make the mistake of diving in a little bit less than what they're capable of, and they let somebody get in front of them. And that's what we've got here with Cale out in front of Emma in lane 4. And you see they're so far ahead we don't even see them. Emma's trying to make a move on her, but Cale has got that, looks like she's got that training for the finish speed as well. She has entered faster. She has a faster time, so there's nothing that Emma is doing that is wrong. She's just being handled here by Cale Thompson from Australia. 18-year-old S14 swimmer from Australia. She's entered at a 2:18 or a 2:20. And we'll see if Emma's got a final surge or if Emma is hoping to get enough points here to put her big race down in the evening. that's a big risk when we put our finals together by points. There is no time for toying around. And great swim from start to finish from Cale Thompson from Australia. Emma and Cale there were just within a couple of seconds, 4 seconds to be exact. Cale's 2:20.24 and 2:24.12 from Emma Van Dyke from Canada. Third, Piper Sadowski from the U.S. She was 37.5 on that last 50 for a 2:27.3, which put her 2 seconds faster than her entry time. And I'm going to thank some people here and end this session as they have all finished. This ends our morning session, and we want to give a big thank you to our officials on deck, all those blue shirts down there making sure that this meet runs smoothly, and it has. We're just 2 minutes from our projected timeline, so outstanding work from our officials. Thank you. So this concludes our morning session. You can see the final times there, and check online at teamusa.org or World Para Swimming for who's going to be in our finals. We're going to be back here in Indianapolis at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We had some great swimming this morning. We had, I think 2 world records, 2 or 3 American and America's records. And that just sets us up for more great swimming tonight. This is the 2025 World Para Swimming World Series. I'm announcing it solo in the venue and online, so I thank you for bearing with my rhythm going up and down. We will be back this afternoon. Thanks for joining us.